Hi, Internet.
Woohoo, live for the first time.
Hello, interwebs.
For the first time. Okay. Sorry. So, hi everybody.
Wait.
uh,
I feel like I need to work on my lighting, actually. I'm like so pasty.
oh,
The light.
Yeah.
birds. That's you're fine. All right. So, yes, hello and welcome anyone that's jumping in chat. Um, Tonight we're premiering a new campaign, 5th edition D&D. This campaign is called Stormfall.
Dun.
These are the wonderful folks of Stormfall, and I'll go around and let everyone sort of introduce themselves, and then if you want, you can introduce your character with a little, just the basics like class, race, background type, and any little tidbits you want to give out that you aren't worried about spoiling any of your backstory with. So I'm going to go across the top, or just follow the pattern here to layout. So that starts with Melissa. Yay, lucky you, you're first. Oh, you might be
Oh,
muted.
sorry about that.
Go.
Oh, great. Yay, I'm first. At least I'm done quickly. So I start off with something about me and then my character?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, I'm Melissa.
Hello.
I'm 29, stay-at-home mom. Crazy life. 4 kids, 2 dogs, husband. It's insane. Nothing much about me except I'm a big fat nerd, so I don't know.
Okay.
um, my character is called, her name is Emersina. She is a wood elf druid. She is 250 years old. She's a hermit. Um, she's got like white, silvery hair. I don't really know what to say.
Neat. Well, that's good.
um, yeah, so she's basically searching for her brother.
Oh, nice.
So,
The plot thickens, or it starts. Dun dun dun. Yeah. Very neat. All right. Well, up next is Ed.
All right. My name's Ed. I am a photographer on the weekends. During the day, I actually work on LED lighting. I play the character of Felix Fargrim, and he's a human fighter. He's about mid-20s, male. He's got olive skin, brown eyes, black hair. He's been in the city for about a week and a half and just trying to survive. In a modern context, it could be considered sort of a like a refugee of sorts. Yeah, that's Felix.
Very neat. Okay. Next up is Sarah.
Hello. My name's Sarah, and during the day, I am a data analyst. It's very exciting.
Mm.
Um, but my character is named Rhinewind Springtide. She is a cleric of a tempest storm god, and she is a water genasi. So she comes from parts unknown and wet. Damn.
Nice.
So her background is pirate, and yeah, she's been pirating for a while. And that's about it for her so
Awesome.
far.
Cool. One of my favorite things about Rhinewind is that her hair sort of floats up over her head like it's suspended in water. I love that idea
Yeah,
so much. I thought it was the coolest.
yeah. It's a little like it's like kelp a little bit, you
Nice.
know.
Perfect. Next up is Beth.
Hi, I'm Beth, and as you can probably tell, I'm from the UK. It's super early here, so I play Astrid Leafspawn, who is a fawn monk. She's an outlander. Uh, she was raised in a monastery by monks, and yeah, she is got a very distinctive look.
Definitely, yeah. Very cool race concept and stuff. When you mentioned it, it's like, ooh, yeah, it's gonna be done. Uh,
Do it
next,
up.
yeah. Next up is Sam.
Ooh, okay. Well, I am Sam, currently faceless. I'll hopefully have my webcam sometime soon.
She plays a disembodied
I'm
voice.
also a. I'm the ghost of the group. I'm also a. I'm also a stay-at-home mom. So I deal with children all day. I have 2 kids. Um, and let's see, my character is Ormia Emriel. She is a high elf, a swashbuckler. So this will be an interesting little class that might get adjusted at some point. And she's got the noble background. She's a youngin, just barely an adult, and and yeah, that's I don't know what else to say.
Okay, that's great. Ooh, I can't wait to see these people play. Next up then is Warren.
Hi,
That's
I'm
it.
Warren.
Yeah.
I am playing Emile Charpentier, who is an adventurer of somewhat dubious and ignoble background. I'm an urchin who grew up in a large city, and I've managed to escape that place, and now I'm out looking to make my mark on the world somewhere else.
Awesome. Super cool. I was extra glad that someone picked a rogue. I always like. There's just something about having a rogue in the party that's exciting.
Love
You need a rogue.
And then we have Steph.
Hi, I'm Steph, and during the day I am an office manager. I also do artwork. I do storyboarding on the side. I do illustrations. I'm a huge geek. I also write gaming articles. Yeah, that's me. I play Kaylin Imikir, who is a mountain dwarf fighter, and she was orphaned as just a baby at a battle in Villia, and was actually taken in by a couple of um, some very good elves actually. A female and a male who were partners. They took her in. They'd already had an older son, so she does have an older elf brother. But yeah, so she grew up with elves, kind of on the outcast because she's a dwarf and elves don't like dwarves. So her family were kind of outcasted for all of her life. So she's kind of a loner, but she definitely loves her parents, her adopted parents. So anyways, so she's fairly young for a dwarf. She's in her 60s, which is just a little over when they reach adulthood. So she's like 20 something.
Nice.
Yeah.
So cool. All right. Yeah, and I'm Dan. You probably know me already, so nothing too fancy. DM, yay. And that's it. So I'll be lots of different people, all with terrible accents. So if you haven't ever watched anything I've DM'd, I am miserable with accents, but I push through. So my apologies in advance. Yeah. Neat. All right. Well, let's get started. I'm going to switch us over here to some map action and share out a map. That's exactly what I'm going to do. Boop. Okay. So we need to get more monitors. All right.
On Dan's wish list, more monitors, at
Yes.
least 5.
Yeah. Like, well,
And
I'll
a
just
desk
open
to
this up.
put them on.
Yeah, no kidding.
All 4K monitors,
Yes.
IPS.
Dear Santa. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would really like. All right, I'm going to share out the Bexley map here. We are starting this campaign in the city of Bexley. And just to give a little perspective here, I'm going to open up another map and share this one out, which I apparently don't have shared out. It's going to take a while. Sorry, this will take a while to load. And it's they both will. This one's a really big map. This is the section of Estrala Nor. The world is known as Estrala Nor. And this is a known area, at least for the current players. Any minute now, this will load.
It must be a really foggy day
Yeah.
in the city.
Nice. All right, and then we will see. Let me bring OBS back up here. Up in here. Ugh.
Apparently, your map is causing buffering.
Oh, is it? Probably. There we go. Woo! All right. Let me load this so I'm sure people can see the whole thing. All right, like this. All right, that's pretty good. That's essentially everything. All right, so the city of Bexley is down here on the continent of Calborum. So I dragged the whole map around like a noob. The continent of Calais is a heavily commercialized continent. All the kingdoms are very focused on monetary gain, business, making money, imports, exports, and so forth. So they thought at one point, just recently, they found the means to go over to Calborum and thought, hey, we found there's reports of all these wonderful minerals and all these goods that they could just mine and take from Calborum. So let's get over there and go rip it clean and make a bunch of money. So they sailed across the Coral Tides and founded the kingdom of Magna Yavin, which we can see here if I can zoom in properly. There's a natural boundary mountain range that runs through there. The rest of the continent was inhabited by different tribes and different small towns and cities, but all basically tribe-like. And of course, they didn't take very kindly to this. So they had a war for about 10 years or so. The people from Calais, Magna Yavin, were at a disadvantage because of the mountain range. But they were able to finally come to an accord, a peace treaty of sorts, tentatively, tenuously rather, being held in place. The capital city of Magna Yavin is Bexley, and that is where we will meet all of our characters. And this, the other map, is the actual city of Bexley, partially built into a mountainside. A river was co-opted and intentionally run through the city. It runs out to the river that a few miles down empties out into the ocean by the Bexley port outside of the actual town of Bexley. We find two of our players that we'll start with, Rhinewin and Ormia.
Ormia.
Ormia, okay. And Ormia, in this city, waiting patiently to be granted permission to sail out of Bexley Port. They requested it several days ago. They've been waiting again patiently to hear word back. And they have only just been summoned to the port commissioner's office to hear word on a development in that situation. The two have just arrived at the port commissioner's office and have been led in to see a familiar face on my fifth screen. If I had one, I would have this up already. The both of you step into the office of the port commissioner, Hisky Pendergast. She's a fierce-looking female tiefling. She's somewhere in her mid-40s. She has coal-black hair that's tied up in like a sloppy bun towards the back of the top of her head. Purple skin, golden eyes, really thick, bushy eyebrows.
That's not creepy at all.
Nope. She has sort of an assassin's build, sort of fit and wily and ready to, dodge and cut. And she's dressed in what looks like fairly functional, high fashion attire. She's clearly up there in the noble chain, but it looks like it's actually functional gear. And she just barely glances up at the two of you as you enter and gives a slight nod to Ormia, which is only because Ormia is a noble that she gives that gesture.
Special.
She kind of glances back down at the two seats in front of her desk and then continues to shuffle through her paperwork. And what do you two want to do?
So we've been told that there's been, like, why were we told again that we were summoned here?
Oh, you've been waiting to get permission. You were seeking permission to use the port of Bexley, and then they said, there's news from Hisky.
There's news.
Mm-hmm. There's a development. Yeah, come see her.
A development. Okay. So I'm gonna wait patiently for a moment for her to get her papers in order and see if she says anything.
You see her tail starts to like wag.
And then if not, I'm going to say something.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Does she look like she's going to say anything, or just beyond the nod? Is there any acknowledgement?
No. She looks like maybe she's a little impatient.
Oh.
Okay. All right. I'm just going to clear my throat a little bit. We were told that you have news for us.
Yes. Please. Sit. She's sort of only addressing Ormia. It's not like she's dissing Rhinewind. She just, you get the sense she doesn't have time for any of this, but she knows that there's an etiquette she has to follow with nobles. So, so you get the gist. It's not personal, but it's sort of ornery. Sit.
I'll sit.
Yes. Well, I've seen to processing your petition to use the port, and she's still arranging things on her desk because she's very on the move. And there's complications, lots of red tape, as you know. Now, and she finally tucks some papers into a nice, neat pile and finally sits down, flips her tail up over the side of the chair. Mm-hmm.
Can I see, just take a curious glance, see what those papers were?
Yeah. Even from there, it's pretty clear to see a lot of them are ledgers of some sort, possibly imports, exports, something running through the city of Bexley before moving out to the port. Let me bring up the map here again because there is a you do know that there's like a shipping and receiving port that you've seen in the city that gets a lot of what they are mining and taking out of their kingdom here. Um,
Mhm.
they are shipping back over to Calais, and it looks like it's just a lot of administrative paperwork.
All right.
Uh, yes, well, uh, you've been here all of what? 4 days? 3, 4?
4.
Yes, well, perhaps you've heard, perhaps you haven't. Who am I to say? I don't know. But we have an issue. And I believe that I can convince the upper administration to move this along and grant you access to the port. Should you be able to help them with the matter at hand? You two seem fairly capable, and I figured I'd bring this offer to you first.
All right. What sort of offer?
Well, as you know, we're a very fast-paced city, lots of growth, and you are aware that
See that.
it is sort of a boom town that turned into a boom city. It was only construction only started, I think, 20, 25 years ago, and it's a pretty big city now. Lots of laborers, and well, there's a whole center area that's all like the richer, wealthier folks. Um, but they're um, dude, what is that?
That might be my kids.
Oh, that's
Sorry.
fine. No. I was just looking at everyone's monitor to see like if anyone is scary. I'm like,
Something is coming.
the roof smashes open. Yeah. Ah, roll new characters.
We're all dead.
Yeah. It's a Tarrasque.
Already?
Yeah. So she continues. Yes. Well, as you likely know, there was a large accident some years ago with the and you are aware of that as well. The large chasm in the southwestern section of the city. You're not sure. There aren't really many details out as to what caused it or what happened, but there's this gaping chasm in that part of the city that they walled off and just kind of left for crap. Like, yeah, okay, done.
Kind of like a sinkhole that appeared or something?
Essentially, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And she so she says yes. Well, repair and construction has been ongoing for quite some time, but the crews down there have had constant mishaps, constant accidents, and resulting in injuries and even some deaths. But after only after excavating what would have appeared to be an entrance of maybe a tomb or something long lost to history. I don't know. I don't have time to listen to the scholars. You know how they get. But unfortunately, most of the working class, I find them to be fairly superstitious, and they simply refuse to go down and work there. It's good money. I don't know. Superstitious, very superstitious, and they have a little, their union, and they said, look, we need to send, we need to have the area investigated and cleared before they go back to work. And between you and I, it's a waste of time. Obviously, it's fine. I mean, come on. Who are we fooling? They get paid half pay just for sitting there until we do this. So I feel like maybe they're milking it. But nevertheless, we need someone to go down there. You need something from us. We could use this from you. If you would consider going down and just investigating the area and saying, hey, it's great, it's clear. That's all we need.
And you'll push our paperwork through faster for that?
I will have it ready the day after you return.
All right, I'm gonna glance over at Renwyn, just kind of I'm up for it. Are you up for it?
Does this official person appear to be hiding anything that something dangerous she's not telling us about?
You can make an insight check if you like.
I will do that too.
Okay.
That would still be a flat roll. Starting strong, yeah.
Ormia, you're just sort of distracted
Great,
because
that sounds great. Sure, I'll go.
right. Well, she's sort of wrapping her fingers on the desk and her tail's
Sure.
like tapping on the arm of the chair, so you're just sort of distracted with that. But Reinman, you can very clearly see that she has little patience for this whole ordeal. She clearly doesn't, and she believes what she's saying. She doesn't believe, there's anything down there. And this is sort of a typical quid pro quo type of thing that they do to cut through red tape sometimes. You don't get the sense she's holding any information back.
Okay. In that case, I'll raise an eyebrow at Ormia and think, that sounds fair. But I just have to say that with these sinkholes, sometimes you could have it might have happened aeons ago. It's nobody's fault, but could have been a wedding gone bad on those grounds, and we could be dealing with a ghostly bride situation. And
I suppose
that might be a little dangerous. I mean, I'm not saying you should pay us extra flat out, but if we were to encounter anything sort of, that might want to kill us, maybe a little extra pay is in order.
You see her contemplate for a second, take her hand, put it on a ledger in front of her, flip the page, sort of like not revealing it but looking underneath, and then putting it back down, and go ahead and make a persuasion check.
Okay. Come on, digital dice, don't fail me. That didn't work.
Yes, well, we've already taken that into account. Here, and she pulls open a drawer and takes out a couple folders that have some parchment inside. Here, these are a number of other people in the same situation that you're in, looking to get access to the port. They will very likely join you, and this will bolster your numbers, and just to prevent failure.
Excellent.
That would be good, I suppose, to have more people to help.
And she passes over the folders. I would also ask that you see the dean over at Tensor University. He believes that he has a way to gain access to through that sealed off tomb, or whatever the scholars are calling it. It proved too costly to force our way through, but the dean believes he's found a way in. So please stop by the university and see him first, or after you gather your companions.
All right, I'm gonna glance through the folder.
Okay. You see just some like charcoal sketches on some paper of there's
Of the people across the top of the page here on Fantasy Grounds.
Yeah, essentially. Yep, exactly. They have very brief info. They have like Astrids has some like they were a little overzealous with the features. It's like this huge 12-point, buck antlers. And like some fang type teeth. Felix's has just because his picture has all the chest hair, has like this giant bush of chest hair bursting out of his shirt, and like these really squinty eyes, like kind of beady eyes buried under like big eyebrows and stuff. Let's see. I don't know, because Emil's every time I see it, I see Keanu Reeves now. So Charcoal sketches
It's
him like
just
bent
him
backwards
with
like the.
sunglasses.
Yeah, nice. So it's just sort of exaggerated features, but they're moderately accurate to what you'll end up finding. Um, yeah, and that's brief descriptions and rough locations of where each can be found.
All right.
Good, good. Now get going. And she's
Oh.
with a smile. This is her version of polite.
I'll just kind of stand and nod. A good day to you, and then head out.
She gives a quick nod back to you. All right, some guards from the other side of the door. The room was sealed, was closed. It was just the three of you in there. She calls for them. They open the door and let you guys out. Let me go back to the city of Bexley map. Okay, so here's what you have. You have two characters, Emercina, and you do have their first names, Emercina and Astrid. Both marked down as living in the park area, just north of where you guys are in the port commissioner's office, near the lake there. Let's see. You see that. This is turning into such a pain. There we go. You also see, let's see, who else we got? Felix. Felix, did we talk about what location you were going to start in? I can't remember.
I don't think so, but you can toss me wherever. I'll improv.
Okay. So in a training area, it's like a public training area outside of the guard barracks. For Felix. Let's see, Astrid, Emercina. So Emil is marked down as being at the. No, that's somebody else. I've got it all closed. Why, Dan? Why? Rabbit's Foot Tavern, which is just west of the shipping and receiving port, which is in the western part of the city. And who's left? Kaylin. And Kaylin, of course, we didn't discuss where you would be either. So, you can be found in a small, in the area just near the Western Coliseum. Oh, you know what? City Hall. Yeah. Near the City Hall. There's a sort of a stay there. It's a free housing sort of that you get like a night or two just for people that are down on their luck. And you've used it a couple times for now and then. You go there. Saves a little on the cash.
Yeah.
And it's a private area as opposed to most of the taverns and inns.
That's better.
Okay. So Ormia and Rhinewin, where would you like to head first?
Let's go. Collect people on the way to the university.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay.
So stop at the park with the lake first.
we're down near. Yeah, we're down here near the bottom of the map, right?
Yeah.
Where the port commissioner is.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Okay. All right. Okay. So let's just gather people as we get there, so then we don't have to do any backtracking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you
all
go
right.
upstairs with Daddy, please?
So I would say that you likely head north into the park area, just north of the commissioner's office. As you are navigating the woods, you first, I guess, make a perception check as you're sort of going through the park area here. It's moderately large. and it's evening time. It's late June, so it's fairly warm. You're in a fairly tropical area anyway. But the evening weather feels nice. It feels like there's rain. The weather's going to break. It's on the horizon, but it's really buggy right now. And you get that feeling where you just hope it's going to flip and rain already soon.
Uh,
All right, let's see. 11 and 20. Okay. So Ormia, as the two of you are walking, you're sort of, keeping an eye out along the ground for anyone's presence. There's sort of a map with rough areas marked off too. Rhinwen, you happen to look up as you're scanning into some of the trees. A little slight movement catches your eye, and you see up there what at your best guess is a wood elf that's sort of propped up on a heavy limb, almost not quite in a trance, but in some peaceful, meditation, perhaps communing. She seems very one with nature. Um, but her eyes are closed, and so I guess, Emercina, if you want to roll a perception check to see if you spot Rhinwen as well.
Not hard to spot.
and we're not. I don't think we're being very quiet either.
Nice.
Yeah, you're
Okay.
kind of loud.
Right, you've got the chain. So you hear, the. What do you have a chain shirt? Was it a chain shirt, Rhinwen? It's
Yep.
not the full. Okay.
Yes.
So you do hear someone, a couple folks walking through the woods, right near into your personal space,
You're
essentially.
my bubble guys.
We're below your bubble.
No, Liam.
Okay, and you guys sort of spot each other.
Ooh.
Okay. I give her a little salute and ask. Well, basically, you're in a tree. Are you a druid?
I want to be really snarky at this moment.
Nice.
Of course I am. I mean, it's the only other reason why I'm in this tree meditating.
Yeah. Oh,
Is there-
no.
Is there something you need?
Well,
I'm gonna look up and look through the papers. Look at the two, see if she kind of matches one of them.
She does, and you see in the notes there, sort of a document that also offers the same deal to her should she commit.
Okay. Oh boy, I've got a baby in my lap at the moment. Sorry.
No problem.
It's just kind of. Are you Emercina?
Why, yes I am. And you are?
My name is Normia of the Unreal family, and we were told to find you. We have apparently this deal for you searching this chasm.
What kind of a deal are you asking about?
getting out of Dodge.
It's getting the heck out of here.
What did you speak of?
It's getting the heck out of here.
She's gonna kind of look through the paper. Is that just to we go search for this go. Oh my gosh, I can brain. I'm sorry.
You're fine.
I tell her about it.
Okay.
Tell her about the deal, the searching of the red paper, and I am so tired, you guys.
No worries.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
you're fine. She basically recaps, the deal and lets you know that you can have permission the following day as long as you're willing to go down and essentially just
You
check
heard
off
it.
some boxes. Yeah.
Okay. So I just kind of say, all right, and kind of give them a nod and hop down the tree and hope I don't break my ankle.
You do a 3-point landing. Boom. Look up. Let's do this. Yeah.
Where's this sinkhole? I'm
Onward!
gonna kill it.
Douse it in fire.
That's great. All right. So now the three of you, with sort of an awkward silence as you've all just met and you're sort of moving along to find the next person. Actually, all three of you can make Ormia and Rhinwin can make perception checks unless you told Emersina what you're planning. If you did, then she can make the
Yeah.
perception. Okay.
Yeah, I just been like, we're looking. Just look at all these papers. We're gonna go find all these people because apparently everybody agreed for this. Oh, look,
Nice.
double digits.
Oh, dang.
Nice. All of you spot a number of papers, sort of loose sheets of paper, and then a couple journals. The loose sheets of paper are held down by a rock here, a limb there. But let's see, you got the 24. And Racina, you actually hear the sound, this like heavy thud sound, on the other side of the trees where you see these documents on the floor. Like a poof, poof, poof.
Be like, what was that? And I like try to draw my bow because I'm just like, what the heck?
Okay. You sort of find your way through some of the shrubbage there and the trees to look through, and you see a fawn, so humanoid fawn creature that is relentlessly pounding the crap out of a moderately large tree. She's just doing some arm conditioning. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like a makiwara. She's boom, boom, punching it straight, and doing some strikes just to. And you see some leaves kind of shake each time she strikes it. It's an impressive amount of strength.
So like, I put my bow down. I'm like, all right, okay, do your thing.
Very clearly the person in the little dossier there.
Just, I'm gonna look down at the paper, look up. This artist took some liberties.
Awesome.
Oh, that's great.
And you definitely hear them drawing a blank. Oh my gosh, Astrid.
So I carry on and then just kind of like, and then carry on.
Nice.
Not phased at all.
No.
Awesome.
When she looks over, I'm gonna wave. Someone else take this, please. Don't make me be the party face when I'm exhausted.
Okay. The documents that are under the
I'm not meant to
box.
function on 2 hours of sleep.
Oh, that's no good. The papers that are under the rock, I'm gonna kind of
Take a
not
peek.
pick them up, but like try and lift them up a little bit, take a peek
Why
at
don't
them.
you touch those? They're not yours.
Are they yours? Oh wait, whose are they?
Who do you think they are?
The Browns.
I'm the only one here.
Technically, we're here
Presently.
too.
What do you guys want?
Oh, well, that, yes. Well, there was this rather disagreeable person in an office that said that you want to use the port. And
Yes, I do. I
Yes.
need to get out of here.
Clearly. Well, we need to go look at a sinkhole, and then they'll let us use the port tomorrow.
A sinkhole?
Yes.
Looking at it?
Well, we just, have to make sure there are no monsters in it and
Oh, well,
stuff like
yeah,
that.
sure.
Worker safety and all.
Mhm.
Apparently, that's a thing here. Where I come from, you just kind of whip them harder, and then they just scrub the deck faster.
What?
I take a step away from Rhineland. So you're saying if I help you with the sinkhole, I get to leave. I get to go out of here.
Yep.
Yes, all of us do.
Okay. All right. I start collecting all my stuff.
Okay.
And there's a few more people we need to go gather, and then we're gonna head to the university.
Wait, so this is a
there's
group
a
thing?
professor there who can get us into the sinkhole. Yeah,
What do
there's
these people look
us
like?
and 1, 2, 3, 3 more people.
Okay.
Show her the
Yeah.
pictures.
Oh, I take offense
I
to my
don't know
picture
if they-
immediately.
I don't think they're looking. I didn't draw it.
kidding me?
I don't know who did.
I'm not happy.
I don't know who drew it, but you look much better than the picture.
I know.
Excellent.
got my
Yes,
answers all
exactly.
wrong.
This person clearly has no talent, no idea what they're doing, and we're walking on.
Okay.
Yeah. For
I
for
follow
good
behind.
measure, I just take the picture of Astrid and eat it.
Okay.
There we go.
I nod with
It's gone.
approval.
Oh, okay, I just walk on.
All right. You guys carry on, and the next nearest location is the guardhouse, the barracks command center there. And it's not too difficult to find the training area. A lot of wooden target dummies and some archery targets and a few other things. There's only a handful of people out this late in the day. It's pushing 7 o'clock or so in the evening. And there's someone that, a fairly like a ruggedly handsome guy that's there, yeah, dressed with, let's see, what was your, there we go. I need to find a different setup for next week. Let's see. I can't remember what armor you're wearing, Felix. Is it leather?
Chainmail.
Okay,
It has chainmail for.
chainmail.
Yes,
Okay,
yep.
right. So you hear the clink and clank of that, but big, sort of a scruffy, full beard, um, the wavy brown hair, and he's using a weapon that seems that you haven't quite seen before. It sort of looks like a halberd or a javelin, but it has this.
Do I
Mhm.
do I recognize it out of curiosity, just coming from a smithing, armor and weaponsmithing family?
Go ahead and make a history check if you would.
History?
Hmm. And
Ooh, I actually have some good. Ooh, more double digits.
14. Okay.
Yes.
It seems to
I
be
want my real dice.
nice.
Let me use my real dice, please.
It looks to be a weaponized version of a lamplighter. It has the branch off for the wick, and you see a little flame flicker at the end of the strikes every time it strikes the target dummy. Poof, poof, this little flame that kicks in as it strikes.
This is cooler than mine.
Huh.
Hmm.
And
Felix kind of twirls the staff thing over his head and then whips it around his back.
yeah.
And goes to grab a drink of water.
Clearly
Of
not
course.
showing off.
Pours it on his head a little bit.
Flips the hair.
Neat.
Well, as he goes for the water, I pour a glass of water for him and hand it to him.
Oh, thanks. Oh, just hanging out, doing a little bit of training.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you interested in going to a school for a little bit, and then possibly going into a tunnel?
Studying's not really my. Wait, what? A tunnel?
Oh yeah. Just let me back up for a second. There's this
We go
sinkhole,
investigate this. Yes, a sinkhole.
and we heard that
And if we
you.
go investigate it.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm so glad I'm a hermit.
We heard that you want to use the port, and if we go and look at this thing with all of these nice people, we all get to use the port and leave.
Much faster.
Who told you that I wanted to use the port? Who sent you?
What was the harbor
The
lady?
tiefling.
Hisky Pentergast.
Oh yeah.
It's such an easy name.
Well, very very busy lady named Hisky from the port sent us. And
Tiefling, she said we could push our paperwork through faster, be out of here by tomorrow if we go find this thing.
Do you guys work for the port?
No.
heck no.
We are trying to get out of here just as much as apparently all of us are.
All right. Okay. Yeah. I'll go with you guys. Let me grab some of my things here, and yeah, I'll join you in just a moment. And
Go ahead.
oh no, Felix just kind of wraps up his training. Slaps the back of a few of the training buddies that he's made throughout his time here,
Neat.
and yeah, joins the party.
Okay. As you're wrapping up, of course, Astrid sort of stands out on her own anyway, and Rhinewin in particular, being very rare races. But being a fighter, you've heard rumors of someone in the city that took part in the fighting coliseums. They have fighting games that you can work your way up and earn ranks and money and stuff. And you've heard the rumors of someone. Again, the rumors exaggerated a number of features. It's another 1.5 feet on her frame. The antlers again were crazy, and it's probably 3 times wider with muscle. In the descriptions, that basically came and pwned the whole thing over the course of about a month and a half. She worked her way up and earned the top title, the top tier in the Coliseum.
Well,
and then
here's
just
the
quit.
question: was her stage name Philip?
Nice.
It was Phyllis, actually.
Okay.
Excellent.
Sorry. My bad.
Neat. So that does kind of catch your eye. It kind of clicks. Like there aren't that many people that look even remotely close to a fawn. So just something in your mind anyway that clicks.
Sounds good.
All right. Let's see. Who would be next? What do we have? Gosh, who's left? Just Emil and Kaylin? Does that sound right? Let me backtrack here. Okay.
Seems like it.
All right. I'm sorry, Caitlin. You're at the very end. So Emil would be next. You find your way to the Rabbit's Foot Tavern. Sort of a rowdy bar, definitely a dive bar. I mean, none of the bars and taverns here are really that fancy or even well kept. well, um, in this area that you're accustomed to, is outer region. But this one looks particularly like a dive bar. And as you go in, there's very little lighting in here.
Ormia kind of hesitates before going in, just like, oh boy, here we go.
Yeah, you can feel like the sweat in the air and the ale and the gaseous excretions of most of the members inside. It hits you like
She
a
takes a
wall.
step back and then continues then like, oh boy, let's and makes a very fast perception check to get this over with.
Okay.
Oh, there we go.
Nice, nailed it. You're just so focused, like in and out, in and out, in and out. And you're like, you get in there and give a quick scan, and in the back,
Yeah.
you see a group of 4 or 5 people gambling with a set of dice. And it looks like in the back corner of that table, possibly the person known as Emil in the document. Emil.
Hmm.
I'm gonna point him out to the other. How many of us are there now? 4.
I'll go in a little further into the rowdiness.
Okay.
Like I'll go get it. It's all good.
Neat. Yeah, you're very
Thank
accustomed
you.
to this type of nice.
Yeah, I'm just gonna lean against the wall outside. I'm not even gonna bother.
Okay. Sound decision. Yeah, Ryan, when you've been in bars like this before with your pirate background, and some people are pushing each other and yelling, and you just sort of go along with it, push them back, and find your way back to the table with a meal.
I am standing in the doorway, just watching, kind of ready to lend a hand if needed. I know she can handle herself, but
Nice.
like,
Aw.
yeah.
Yeah.
Neat.
I'm just imagining like trying to muscle my way through the convention floor at a convention or
Yes, that's pretty much it.
whatever. Just like weaving my way through, and if anybody's mouth breathing in my way, they're gonna get out of my.
You throw a few elbows and make your way back there. And Emil, you see this woman clad in chain armor, light bluish green skin, this hair floating as though suspended in water, and you see her knock a few people on her way over, and then she just stops at your table.
I just take a quick look, just either side of me to make sure I know where the door is, just in case, just whatever happens, I'm ready.
I'm by the door. Hi.
So I'm gonna completely butcher your character's last name, probably.
Go for it. That's all part of it.
So, are you Emile Charpentier?
Who's asking?
Well, me, but indirectly, the tiefling who runs the port. She let us know that you might be interested in leaving this fine city, looking around at, gesturing at all the lovely people around. And we have a job that if we do it, she'll push our paperwork through. I don't know what's so important about paperwork, but apparently the spice must flow for the paperwork. So, you interested? Or, I mean, if you want to finish your game first, I completely understand.
I might have lost him.
I think we lost him.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
No.
Well, to add some
No
filler,
technology.
I know. Come on, VC. As you finish asking that, there's this nasty belch like right over your shoulder, and you turn around and it's just some heavy set elderly human guy with a big cask of a big cup. I can't think of the flippin'
Mug.
word for it. Thank you.
Flask.
Yeah,
Time.
of yes, tankard. Thank you. Of booze and of ale in his hand, and he just he's been listening. He's just sort of listening to the conversation. He let out this burp. He kind of looks at you like, yeah. What?
What plate?
Oh, sorry. Emil's back.
Yes, apologies. I don't know what happened.
No, no problem. It was VC. Oh. So she basically just proposed that Hiskey at the port commissioner has an offer
The same
to
thing
let
we've
you
told
out.
everyone
Yeah.
else.
Okay. And you have documents attesting to this? As I'm still dicing, I'm just
Nice.
continuing to play.
I like get up on my tiptoes and kind of point around the belching dude who was listening in, and like that was excellent, very well done, sir. And point to Ormia, who is at the doorway still. She does.
I wave.
Okay. I don't say anything. I kind of finish the round of throwing dice, and then I look up finally and say, "Gentlemen, I think it's time for me to take my winnings and go."
You've got 10 copper in winnings tonight.
I
Hard
look at them. I
That's
kind
one
of
silver.
nod at them and take them and then head out.
Neat.
And I will insist on seeing the papers, and I'll look them over, and then, knowing that they are in order, I'll happily join up.
If you don't
Yeah.
like your picture, I can get rid of it.
It will never be seen again.
Isn't that what I look like?
Yours
Or do I
is
look
pretty
around
accurate,
for
but yeah.
mirror? I don't know.
Nice. And you definitely feel free to add 10 copper to your inventory too. You
Yes.
actually won that, yeah.
I actually won. I didn't lose tonight.
Yeah.
Yahoo!
All right. With only one more member on the docket, you all continue through the city a little further north, up near the town hall, where you find this area of respite for travelers and wayfarers. And sitting quietly at a small table in this community area of this small inn type place, you see a dwarf, rather on the young side as far as dwarves go. Long red hair. Very much like obviously the red hair isn't in the charcoal sketch, but very much like the picture. Sort of a tan skin. And I don't have the rest of the description up in front of me. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Caleb. But she's she's flipping through a book. She appears to be very studiously examining some text, all by herself.
So is she? I'm sorry. I had a brain fart. Is she sitting at a table or is she just sitting in a chair?
She's sitting at a table with a few texts around, quietly reading through them. It's a very
Okay.
quiet locale.
Okay, I'll do this one then. I'll head up to her, just kind of tap her on the shoulder and in Dwarvish say, "Excuse me, I'm sorry to bother you, but are you Kaylin?"
I answer yes. That's me.
You recognize her as a high
Excellent.
elf.
Would you like to come with me? We need.
Sorry, go ahead.
Would I like to come with you where?
We have been more or less hired to investigate the sinkhole, and in return, our paperwork will be pushed through so we can get out of the city sooner. We have a group already together, ready to go. Would you like to come with us? And I have a really high charisma, I swear.
Do you know where you're heading to?
It's called, I think it's Sandraedia's, but let me check. Sandraedia's Chasm.
It's I'll tell her where the sinkhole is.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that area. Well, first we're going to head to the university, find a professor who can help us get in there, and then we'll head to the chasm.
Okay.
Hey, Dan.
Mm-hmm.
Can Felix take this moment to use his lamplighter to trip a passerby into Astrid?
Absolutely. Commoners are super easy to trip, so I'm not going to make you roll for it. But Astrid, if you want to make a dexterity saving throw to see if you not notice it and get out of the way in time, you're welcome to do that.
This is amazing.
But it's a definite trip. Yeah.
Oh.
Apparently.
Oh.
Nope.
Oh.
Okay.
Face first?
Yeah, you just slyly, extend your weapon and completely trip this half-drunk doofus. Oh no, I guess you're in this little inn place, so it's just some poor vagrant that's here for the night, walking across the room, trip, and he just tumbles, head over heels into Astrid, knocking her a good foot and a half over before she, kind of bounces back up and gets out of the way.
I grab the guy and say, "Oh yeah."
Do you know?
Should we maybe do it?
Yeah, do I notice Felix trip the guy?
Okay, so Felix make a sleight of hand check, and Astrid make a perception check against it.
Okay.
Wow, you two. Wow.
Ooh.
Oh, perception. Okay.
You just have to beat a 5. Whew, okay. Yeah. So it was. You just caught the end of it as it's all happening. You see him pulling his weapon back into place and looking at his.
I grab the guy and say, "Hey, watch where you're going," and shove him out of the way.
I don't do anything. I just mark it and remember it.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So when this happens, there's kind of like this sudden altercation. Emil just kind of steps back into the shadows and just, once he realizes nothing's happening, he'll step forward again. But that's his first reaction. You might notice that he just kind of
awesome.
gets out of the way.
I look to the people around me and I'm like, are they in our group?
Yes.
Hi.
Say that way too carefully.
I just kind of shake my head at everybody like, oh my gosh.
There's a reason I live alone.
We going?
Yep, let's go to school.
Let's do this.
Can I suggest this is a good spot for the
Just gonna say,
break?
Yep. Yep, I figured once we picked up Kaylin, since it's time, we'd knock it out. So, we will take our bio break, so feel free to resupply coffees and all that, and we'll stay streaming, but we'll be back in like 5-8 minutes.
Okay. Cool.
Yay.
See you in a bit, chat.
Yay.
Whee!
totally smashed my knee on the desk.
Oh,
Smooth. I like how the dynamics building so far between the characters. It's very neat. All right, let me go check all my docs. Oh, I see the unnamed the unnamed character now.
Yeah. Random.
It's a ghost. All right, let me close this extra business out. Deleted.
You don't exist.
Yeah. Oh God. There was this game. I can't remember. I feel like it was a Wing Commander game. Um, for the PC ages ago. I feel like it was Wing Commander, but maybe not. You know what? Maybe it was KOTOR. Did I mention I have a terrible memory? Anyway, there was a robot companion in your spaceship. And I just remember this hilarious. I think it was KOTOR because I'm pretty sure it was HK-49 or whatever that had those
oh,
hilarious
dude.
lines.
HK-47.
Okay, 47.
I think.
Yeah, and it was something he had said. The character. Um, I don't know. It's not going to be funny because I'm murdering it slowly here. But it was just whatever they play the game because it's funny in the game. But he says I'm going to delete that remark from my memory banks. And so I say it a lot. So if you hear me say it, that's where it's coming from. But in the game, if you play it, it's actually funny. Uh, but here's just an anecdote as to why you'll hear me say that a lot. Delete that remark from my memory banks.
Negative meatbag.
Yeah. It's so great.
That game is amazing. I loved it, even though it was so buggy. Like
Yeah.
I would be running across a plane of grass and then be teleported across the map inside a building, probably stuck in a wall, and have to reload.
Right? Why you do this? The second one was good too. I wish they hadn't reused so much of the first one, but it was still,
I still enjoyed it.
compelling. And I heard that they put them out for iOS. I imagine they probably cost something. Now I feel like I need to go check, but I think it looks like everyone's back. Sam, are you back per chance? Okay, maybe not
Yes.
Sam. We'll listen for the Turesk. Then we'll know. All right, let me jump in my notes here. Sounds like you guys are probably heading up to Tensor University.
Right.
So in a meta version, of course, Tensor is one of the Circle of Eight or whatever it is, like Big B, Tensor, Mordenkainen, all these huge, the spells in the player's handbook named after these characters, which I think were like 3 or 4 of them were Gary Gygax's characters when he played in his own campaign there.
Oh, cool.
So yeah. So anyway, Tensor is one of Tensor's flying disc. I think it is. I think he's got a couple spells in there. So that's who that's in reference to. Sam, may I ask if you are back?
Poke Sam.
Poke. Nice.
Like it's all in different directions.
I want to look at the layout now to see if anyone's actually pointing where. Close now, yeah.
All the directions.
Pass this poke along, yeah. Nice. That away, yeah. Well, I'll say that you while we wait for her to return, um, does it sound like you guys are going to be heading to Tensor U next, or do you guys have any other places that you think you may want to stop?
No, I reckon that sounds
Well,
good.
I think we're all pretty focused on getting this job.
Yeah, we all just want to get the heck out of here.
Yeah, right.
Nice. Just checking again, Sam, to see if you are back, perhaps. Samantha, come back.
Yeah. 3 times.
Nice, in the mirror.
Sam Jarvis, Sam Jarvis, Sam Jarvis.
What's that behind you, Dan? What?
She like appears behind me.
Yeah, Steph, watch out! Yeah. Oh, fresh coffee. Yum yum yum. I don't really want to start it back up without her, but we'll say another 2 minutes and we'll see if she's back by then. She may have just gotten caught up with some stuff.
Yeah.
Or falling asleep. I think she was saying she's pretty tired.
2 hours of sleep will do that to you.
Ugh.
I saw somebody yawning.
Like Beth.
a few minutes
Sorry,
ago.
Beth. Yeah. Thank you for sticking it out, Beth.
Yeah, it's 4:45 here, but it's all good.
Just checking again, Sam, in case you're back. Yeah, we got 1 more minute, and then we'll just have to jump into it. And just to backtrack a little bit, you did all have a very similar experience with Hiskey at the port commissioner. I think the only person that had any slightly different experience would have been Ormia, being a noble, but everyone else really got sort of a rush job. Some of you didn't even deal with her, I'd imagine. You probably dealt with some of her subordinates, but y'all got a rush job out of there. Yep. It's like a DMV. Essentially.
Oh, no.
Yeah. The port commissioner's office.
All right.
Hey, Sam. Is that Sam?
All right, I'm back.
Yay!
Yeah, sorry
Yay.
to put the
What's
kids to bed.
Oh, no problem. Oh.
Children are in bed. Yay!
Yay.
Freedom. Yeah. Neat.
That's always a great feeling.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so sounds like you guys are heading to Tensor U to get some za. No, just kidding. You're heading up to Tensor University. It's a very it's I'm pretty sure it's built up into no, I guess it's in that fancy part of town. Very large building, immaculate campus compared to a lot of the rest of this area of Bexley. It's kind of night and day. Beautiful old architecture. It was there's stone gargoyles. There's marble pillars. It's really, really fancy schmancy, being the technical term. So you guys arrive there and find your way into the main area. There's sort of an office just inside the main entrance where visitors go. You do see a moderately young elven woman behind the counter that looks up as you all enter and cleans a bit of the counter in front of her as she looks up. Yes, may I help you all?
What was the name of the professor?
I need to take better notes.
Nice. Yes, better remember. She just referred to him as the dean. She didn't actually give a name.
Oh,
Oh,
Hmm.
is there a name in the papers somewhere?
Um, yeah, there'd probably be a directory somewhere. I mean, as you quickly glance around, like, what's this guy's name? You do see
No, like in the paperwork that we were given
oh,
by the
um,
tiefling. I'm so bad with names in real life. It gets even worse when we're playing D&D.
nice.
So,
There's nothing in the documentation. However, there is as you're sort of flipping through that, and you look up behind this woman, and there's a portrait of the dean, and below it says Dean Crinkle Ogle Buttress.
Ooh.
that is fabulous.
That's so terrible. It's great.
Sorry, I like fantasy
I
names.
give out a little chuckle.
Yeah.
I really hope it's an obnoxious portrait of him looking all snooty.
It really is. Yeah, he kind of he's a gnome. And he has this terrible comb over, even in the portrait. Like, they really captured this terrible, terrible comb over. Bright, gaudy, bright yellow robes in the portrait.
It's like the worst color ever.
Yeah, you just kind of shiver looking at the portrait. Like, okay. Kind of looks like the
Well.
Penguin from, like, OG Batman movie.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I will ask the elven woman behind the desk. We're here to see Dean Buttress. Is he in class? Because I'd love to disrupt that.
She's trying to take you in, like, not sure if you're joking. No, he's in his office. Do you have an appointment, or
I don't know. Do we have an appointment?
No.
I
think
don't
this
know
is where we
you.
name drop. I think we need to name drop here.
I kind of throw open my mouth a little bit at the portrait, and then clear that out and just we are here to speak with him about the chasm in the middle of town.
Oh, okay. Yes, he is expecting you. Please, pull up a seat. Third waiting room on the right. Fourth door down this hallway will be the third waiting room. Please take some seats, and he will enter when ready.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you.
Yes, and she's sort of giving everyone a scan because there is sort of an interesting crew, some races she's not accustomed to, and it's just sort of this strange mix, not like a party would typically see together. Like,
Emil
yes,
winks at her.
nice.
You guys, we blend in so well with the crowd. It's uncanny.
Awesome.
I'm
She
an
has
expert blender.
she has sort of a shy blush at Emil's wink. And kind of looks back down at his stuff. Like, she's sort of like, so much going on. So you all find your way down to this waiting room. And it's a really nice sitting room. There are tables. There's actually really nice selection of books that you spot. Kaylin, some interesting reads with your sage background. And there's a set of French doors inside, and only a few minutes after you're all arriving and sort of, hovering about the room, those other set of French doors open up, and it's the dean. Like, there's no question, because it's just like the flippin' portrait come to life. Same bright yellow robes, the short gnome guy, and again the comb over, almost like as he walks, it has a little bit of a waft and bounce to it, where it lifts up, it shows this like liver spotted scalp.
I'm picturing the hair from like the Duke of Wesselton in Frozen.
Yes.
Nice. Um, he comes out, and there's also a gentleman that comes out only a moment after behind him. You know what? I would say, Kalen, given your background and the sage background and your actual background, and
Yes.
Ormia, um, and Emercina, you three can roll a history check as you see this other gentleman walk out behind him.
Oh boy.
I roll as I try
Another
not to
roll
laugh.
I can
History check. That's wisdom, right?
fail.
I think it's
His
wisdom based.
intelligence.
Yeah. Womp womp.
History's intelligence.
Oh, it's intelligence?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you should have. Sorry, in your skill tab, the second tab in your character sheet, there'll be all you
Right.
can roll an actual history check from there, and it'll add,
Ooh.
like, in case you're proficient, which I think you are from a sage.
Yes.
Oh snap! Okay.
Very nice.
All right. This is actually a fairly high
Play
DC.
of the game.
Nice. So Kaylin is just you that recognizes this gentleman as an Eladrin. Actually, it's perfectly fitting for you, given the kingdom you came from and everything. And Eladrin, they're like the original elves. They came from the Fae. And then once they came over here, then you end up with like the prime material plane high elves and wood elves and drow and stuff. But their ancestors, like immortal ancestors from the Fae, are the Eladrin. And this
Was that a cat?
Yeah.
awesome. This gentleman is, in fact, an Eladrin.
Okay.
So he has very pale skin, a very well-trimmed, like salt and pepper beard, which is not typically seen on elvish folks. So it kind of stands out a bit. So he stands about 6'3", fairly tall, very noble features, and he has piercing green eyes. But as you're taking in this person, very quickly your attention is pulled back to Crinkle Butt here, whatever his name was. I don't have it up in front of me.
That works just as well.
Yeah, Dean Crinkle Oglebuttris. Yes, welcome. Please, come in, won't you? And you can almost see like an eye cringe, like a little eye twitch from the other gentleman behind him, but maintaining his posture, and sort of steps aside to let everyone walk into the office behind the French doors. Please sit, pull up a seat, make yourselves at home. You're the folks that Hisky sent, correct? Yes?
Yes. The only reason Armia hasn't like punted him out the window is because she has training to deal with these sorts of people.
Nice. um, so great. So he kind of looks at, let's see, Felix and Felix, Ryman, and Kalen. And careful, why don't you three stand? Because you're wearing the heavy armor. I don't want anything broken in here. This is, these are antiques. Please, just stand, you three. Thank you. So.
Stand up.
Back up, yeah. Yeah, so I am to understand that you lot, and he kind of gives you another, like a scan over, will be heading into the chasm.
Yes, we are the ones who are going in to take a look around.
Well, understood. Well, I believe that I have found a way to open the entrance, the entrance to the tomb. That's what we believe it to be. Yes, and of course we have the means to allow you to traverse the chasm down to its very bottom without being maimed or killed.
Can you tell us a little bit more about what was found there. The tiefling woman didn't quite elaborate. She was fairly busy, so I figured it would be better to ask you.
Certainly, certainly, yes. Hiskey does not have the mind or the time for such things, I would say. Um, it's quite a find, actually. There is an entryway guarded by two statues, gargoyle statues. And we cannot, to this point anyway, seem to be able to open this door and gain access. What mysteries must lie beyond it, I must find out. Simply must find out. So, if you were to go, then there are things that you will need. And he sort of looks around, starts like rummaging all over his desk and through his drawers, and the other gentleman kind of puts his hand down on a scroll on the desk and turns to Crinkle Buttress or whatever. It takes me a while to remember the names. Um, and says, "Please let me handle this." It's by Sean Connery. Yeah, I've waited so long to make an NPC with his voice. I'm still terrible at it, but I love it. It's a pleasure to meet you all. As he kind of looks around.
I'm picturing an elven Sean Connery.
That's pretty much what I tried to make him look like, except for taller.
I'm gonna try my best to take you very seriously, Dan.
Okay. My name is Lennox. And now I'm going to let anyone that's proficient in history roll a history check after hearing this name.
Crap. Can I please use my real dice?
Rachel dice, why? Okay, ooh, alright, so Caitlin and Felix, nice.
Mm-hmm. Please, can I use my real dice?
Sorry. So the two of you, I'm trying to think of how you, I guess it's just one of those things, Felix, where you were in the right place at the right time and you heard about this person. Kaylin, being a sage, this is definitely someone you would look up to. Lennox, in his younger days, was a protege of Tensor. He's like legit wizard Maximus. And what he's even doing in Bexley is sort of like befuddling. Like, what is this guy even doing here? He has to have better things to do. And he continues. Oh, no, he gives everyone a moment as he introduces himself. My name is Lennox.
James Lennox.
Awesome.
Take on the camera.
The pistol thing. So then he continues as no one says anything. So he just sort of takes the cue and continues on. I believe that this scroll will allow access. Once you've arrived at the bottom of this chasm, you will need to hold this scroll up to the door, and it will do the rest.
Simple. The scroll is a key of sorts?
Yes, a one-time use scroll. An unlocking spell of my own design.
How do you know it works?
I'm pretty confident that it'll work.
Can I insight check him on that?
Sure.
Great. I'm not good at insight.
Whoa, but you nailed it. Nice. It may...
Yes! There
20! While it might sound cocky, it's just like super confidence. He clearly knows this spell is going to work on whatever's down there.
Do you...
Yes.
Oh gosh, my brain. I had a question and I forgot it. Oh my gosh.
That's quite all right, my dear.
Do you? Yeah. My train of thought went off the rails and exploded.
So, Lennox, is there a reason why someone as esteemed as yourself isn't going down there by yourself?
I'm afraid I'm just passing through. There are other things that need my attention.
Understandable.
My apologies, though, for not being of more help. But I do also have this coin, and he holds a coin out to you.
Coin?
Mm-hmm.
To who?
Just out to whoever wants to grab it.
Emil.
Okay. Neat. Grab. You grab the coin. This coin will allow you to float to the bottom of the chasm.
Float?
Yes.
Air? Water?
You simply
Lava?
need to stand in a circle, flip the coin, and when it lands, a spell will be cast. You'll have 10 minutes of the Featherfall spell.
Just the one person or the entire group?
Everybody in the circle.
All right.
So you're saying this is kind of like a leap of faith from Indiana Jones?
One might say that.
You're saying that there is a deep chasm where we have to go?
Yes.
Is this only important to you or to other people as well?
I have no personal stake in the matter. I'm something I needed here on Calborum, and I've attained that, and I'm preparing to meet someone here and then leave the continent.
Who are you meeting?
I'm afraid I'm not at liberty to discuss that.
Well, we certainly appreciate the assistance.
My pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else we need to know? Just to the gnome, to Crinkle, to anybody in general.
What sort of things were common in this area? Like, what's the history of the area of the chasm? Should we be expecting undead? Should we be expecting oozes? Should we be expecting dust? Well, clearly dust, but you get my question?
Yes, it's difficult to say without having any clues. There's not much known about this continent.
How many people on average would die a day?
In general?
Well, there have been a lot of accidents, right?
I'm afraid that the Dean may be able to answer that question better. I'm not from Bexley, sadly. And he kind of, speaks up. I mean, there's always accidents and the like. Maybe one or two serious ones a day until everyone decided to stop working down there.
Oh.
Oh boy.
What kind of accidents were they?
Things falling, stones falling, supports. Some folks were buried, perhaps. I don't know. There's so many details. It's so much minutia. Difficult to keep track of.
What's to say that we won't be buried?
And he kind of fixes his robes. Well, I can't say there's been any signs of any disruptions down there since everyone cleared out. I can't make any promises, but my engineers have assured me that it's um, safe. Workers won't go back until they've heard it from an independent source. You'll be fine.
I'm sure.
I'm sure.
I have the confidence.
And Lennox sort of excuses himself. If you'll excuse me, I must be on my way.
Felix gives a slight bow.
It was a pleasure meeting you, Linux.
He gives a gentlemanly bow as well. My pleasure. And excuses himself through everyone and heads out of the French doors and closes them behind him.
As he heads out, I'm gonna follow him really quickly. I just, excuse me, Lennox, sir.
Yes.
Might I ask you a question really quickly before you leave?
Certainly.
You seem well traveled.
Yes.
Have you have you by chance run across an older elvish man by the name of oh my gosh, I have to look this up because I forgot it.
No problem. I know your pain.
By Yenis? Yeris, sorry, Yeris.
I can't say that I have, but I will keep an eye out for you. I've met you now, so
Thank you,
should I
sir.
hear something?
I appreciate that.
Basically says
I
he can use a
appreciate
message
that. Thank
spell.
you.
Yes, of course, my lady.
Oh.
He gives sort of a deeper
Oh,
bow, recognizing you as a noble.
I'll bow just as deeply back and head back in the room.
Are you all done out there? Are you all ready to go now? Kind of slicks his hair back over.
We are.
Before we leave, do you guys still have the documents that have our photos on them, or our images on them, our portraits? May I see mine?
Here you go.
I grab it and I shred it.
Nice.
Is there a fireplace? Is there a fireplace in the room?
Yeah, sure. He'd have that, yeah.
Right in the fire.
Nice. Oh, up it goes. Well, yes. I guess there's no need to charge you for that. So, all right then. Let's get underway. I look forward to seeing your finalized reports.
If we make it.
Thank you, Dean.
Oh, you'll be fine.
Of course we'll make it.
Yes,
That's
yeah, there's a
well since
spirit.
My friend.
On the way out in Nomish, I say good day to him.
Yeah. Okay, sweet. So you guys find your way back out from whence you came. It's a little closer towards 8 o'clock at night now. You've got the coin. You've got the scroll. Oh, right. He added as well that when you're done, there's a small sigil on the opposite side of the opposite side of the chasm from with the door. When you're completed, put your hand on it and speak, and that'll notify them that you're done and ready to be brought up. Some mages will give you access back up. Like, they're all about money and like pinching pennies, so they didn't actually want to pay a mage to send you down, like in case you're not going to be successful. Is the idea behind it? Yeah.
Makes perfect sense.
All right.
Comforting.
Where do you guys want to head then?
Well, should we go down at night or should we go down?
I think we should rest for the night. if we're gonna run into anything down there, I don't know. Some things are stronger at night than during the day. I don't think it probably won't make a difference, but personally, I would like to sleep.
There's probably still a game on at the Rabbit Foot Inn Tavern as well, so I could, go
Sleep,
dice it.
have a good breakfast.
Sounds fine to me.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
Alright. Cool.
Out of curiosity, what was that game you were playing? Can you show me?
The dice game?
Yeah.
Yeah, perhaps, maybe not tonight. I'm a little tired, but yeah, perhaps on another night or in the morning I can show you.
Cool. Thank you. I enjoy games.
Okay.
Okay.
So everyone goes their separate ways, deciding to meet back wherever at the chasm or back here. Where would you guys like to meet back up in the morning?
At the chasm?
The chasm.
The chasm.
Yeah, the
Okay.
chasm.
All right. So everyone heads to their own areas and is able, unless you have anything you want to role play out. Otherwise, we'll just say everyone gets a good night's sleep, has a hearty breakfast, should you want it, and you're able to meet in the morning. But add anything that you want to role play if there's anything.
Kind of watch the shooting star.
Yes, there is in fact for those in the know or that happen to be looking up. There is a small like a meteor shower tonight, and the air. I mean, there's no clouds in the sky, but the humidity is still stupidly intense. But a very clear night, not a lot of light pollution, so you're able to see beautiful starry ray. There's dual moons here in Astralanor. There's a smaller cobalt-colored shaded moon. Due to its composition, it reflects as this cobalt blue. And then there's a larger white moon that appears sort of behind it. And shooting stars. Yep, peaceful. Everyone's able to get a good night's sleep, and you all arrive just outside of the chasm area. There's a small residential area just outside of the walled off spot. There you are approaching one of the gateways. There's three gateways. It's really sort of like a crappy wall, like they just put something up to have something up, so it wasn't wide open access to it. But there's two guards that look like the worst guards ever. They have stools. Clearly they have a little cask of ale, like a mini cask off on the side. It's like 8 o'clock in the morning and they're already taking hits out of it. They're just like, they don't care, and they're just getting paid and they don't care. um, but as you approach, a man runs out. Human, male, maybe early 40s. He's sort of dressed in dirty, common clothes. Has shaggy, like dirty blonde hair and a slightly scruffy beard. Very heavily tanned, weathered skin. And he sees all of you approaching this gateway. And excuse me, are you planning on having a look around down there? Did you get permission to go down?
Yes, we did.
I I know that I'm a stranger, but my son has been missing for for almost a week now, and the kids, they go and play in there. And he kind of looks over at the guards. Excuse me. It's very easy for them to get in, and uh, the kids, they look down, they throw things down there, they look over the edge. I feel almost positive he fell or something happened to him. And with his mom gone, he's all I have left. I've asked for help from the constabulary force, but they could care less about the laborer and his son. I just, whatever his fate, if you come across him, Would you please
Good sir.
bring him back?
Good sir. What's your son's name?
His name is Ayler. I'm sorry. I'm Ren. Ren Braha.
Ren. What was your son's mother's name?
Well, and he's sort of like taken aback a little bit, like he knows, like he kind of feels like he's got to answer because, well, he normally wouldn't. He's hoping that you'll help him. um, his mother's name was Heidi.
Great. We'll do our best to bring him back to you.
Can you describe him a little bit, and we will keep an eye out for him?
Certainly.
I am sorry. I know how it feels to have someone you care for missing.
And he kind of looks at you with these pleading eyes, like this where he's sharing that pain with you through eye contact there for a moment. I'm sorry to hear that. Yes. Well, he's about 11 years old. Come July, I can't think of the actual elven name for the month. He has his hair buzzed short. He's always getting so much garbage in it, so we keep it buzzed. I keep it buzzed. He's just a scrawny little guy. He really is. But scrappy. He looks, the poor kid. He looks a lot like me. Has a lot of my features. I'm hoping he's alive, but I've seen too much of this world. I know that might not be the case. And truthfully, from my life, I've been, the world has taught me not to believe in others, truly. But I'm really hoping that you all can prove me wrong. Please, whether dead or hopefully alive, please bring him back to me.
We will do our best to find him.
Kaylin, with righteous indignation, walks over to the two guards who are goofing around and demands to know if they had seen this little boy and why they're not taking better care of watching the entrance to the cave.
Okay. You go over and you address the larger guard. There's
Yes.
yeah, he's human, but really muscular, and you just kind of go over and give him a swift kick like he's on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he stands up, and says, "Hey, well, what do you think you're doing?"
What do I think I'm doing? What do you think that you're doing?
Well, I'm just, I get paid, I don't get paid enough to guard this place properly.
So you would just let a little boy just wander by into the cave? You can't keep a better watch on the door? Have you seen a little boy come through here?
There's plenty of kids that run in and out of here.
Wow, he's not guarding at all.
He's trying to, puff up even more over you, but you can see a little bit of, like, you're so feisty and in his face that you can see a little, he's nervous in his eyes.
So help me, if we find that boy and he slipped by you and he's hurt, you're going to pay.
Well.
And Kaylin walks away to join the group, to go inside.
And then I kind of whisper to the guard, you don't want to mess with her. Trust me. So, for your own sake, I'd, or brush up your act a little bit better. And then I walk away.
Nice. He's
So
all
Emil-
trying to, yeah. Good.
Emil, as everybody else goes, just looks at him and says, "What was your name again?"
Well.
No, I'm serious. What's your name?
Well, it's, and he kind of looks around, looks at a pile of rocks. He's like, it's Rocky. Rocky.
Is he telling the truth?
You don't
Liar.
really need an insight check.
I
no,
don't need to insight
Yeah.
that. I just stand in front of them and don't say anything. I'm waiting.
He's
I can roll
thoroughly.
intimidate if you want.
Yeah, go ahead. You can add to it. Yeah, he's already from Kalen. He's already frightened from that. And then the whole procession of everyone sort of. Oh, well, I'm gonna let that slide anyway because it was such a good progression of everyone. So he's just like now he's nervous. Like he's like, oh, these people are looking into me and they're pretty scary, and I don't know if I want to be here when they get back. As you're walking in, you sort of catch him like start picking up a bunch of his stuff, like he's maybe gonna abandon his post.
That's what I do to him.
And he goes and grabs faster.
What about the other guard?
The other guard it looks like he's stoned or something. He's just sort of like.
I kind of want Felix to strip somebody again.
Nice.
Felix doesn't take requests.
Awesome. I picture Felix perpetually carrying a water bottle now just to be like on call. Yeah. So Ren's like, thank you all so much.
It's our pleasure, sir.
I will see what I can put together to thank you properly.
No. Wait until we've returned.
Yes. Okay. And he sort of, you can see it's a bit of a pick me up for him. He has a little hope now after interacting with all of you, and seems like a man that doesn't typically have much hope. Whatever he's experienced in his life, it's really, you can see some of that dead eye a bit. If it wasn't for his son in that such a terrible condition, he'd probably be like
Faith in humanity restored.
Yeah. All right, so you guys go in. I mean, Stony over there is like, the stone guard is just sort of standing, like he's not even paying attention. He just pushed the door open. The other guy's already booking it with all this crap in his hands. You walk in, and as you look down into this chasm, it's really deep. You don't really see the bottom from here. It just becomes pitch black after 150 feet, 200 feet or so. You're not really sure what would have caused such a sinkhole. I mean, it's very sharp edges to the chasm. It just drops right off. But you're all standing there, and you've got the coin in case you want to make that work.
Can I take a minute and just examine the rock in the chasm and see if I can intuit what's happened here?
Yeah, make an intelligence check.
Not nature.
It's just a straight up intelligence. That one's right on the first. But if you're proficient in nature, you can roll a nature check. Okay. Let's see, 13. It's tough to tell. You do get the feeling that this doesn't feel like a perfectly natural occurrence. Sinkholes typically create like a semicircle, like a half a sphere, whereas this is like just a chunk of the earth was just cut out and just dropped away vertically.
Okay.
Can I make a perception check to see if there's anything down there that I can sense?
Yeah. You can try. Yeah.
You can certainly try.
Nice. Yeah, that's what it is. 20.
Ooh,
That's
nice.
a good one. You hear what at first sounds like the wind, almost sounds like a howl. Like a woo kind of howl. And in your time here, I'd say that how would I have everyone roll for that? I guess because it's just sort of an experience thing. If everyone would roll just a d20 right from the bottom of the screen there, if you get higher than a 10, I'll say you heard these rumors.
Yes.
This is everybody.
Nope.
Oh, you just had
She's
your
too busy beating people up.
yes.
Yep.
Awesome. So everyone, Sans, Astrid, I'm sorry, Astrid. You've heard the rumors. Residents around this area often, as of over the past half a year or so, talk about being haunted. They hear howls, they hear screams, they swear they see apparitions from the corner of their eye, but they'll turn and they're not there. Well, you've just heard a boatload of ghost stories from the residential areas around the chasm.
Okay.
I don't
Okay.
like ghosts.
Well,
Alright. Oh, and as you're perceiving, Kaylin, this waft of air kind of comes up a little bit from the chasm. Like there's air blowing around, but this waft brings the scent of death for just a second or two. It's like that stench, that rot of death for a moment, and then clears past you. It's back to regular
Do you
air.
guys smell that?
Do we know how
smell
deep
that?
it
No
is?
what?
It smells like death.
Oh, wonderful.
well, let's deploy the coin.
Yeah, let's get this over with.
Neat. All right. So you all form a circle, and Emil, you've got the coin, and once the circle's formed, you flip the coin, and it into the center, and as it reaches its apex and then starts to descend, the coin actually slows down into like slow motion, and then just
That's cool.
floats down to the ground. And then these arcane runes very quickly like flash like a streak of lightning across the ground and up on, making contact with everyone in the circle, and you all sort of hover like an inch off the ground. You have basically feather fall or slow fall or whatever it is.
It's like levitation.
Yeah, just about. You can gently float down. Well, as long as you want. It lasts 10 minutes. Is what Lennox.
Do we have to be holding hands or like touching each
No.
other?
Nope.
Cool. I push Felix in.
Nice. All right.
That's great.
So if you want to let that happen, that's totally. If you want to try and roll against it, you're welcome to, Felix. But if not, then you just get pushed in. It's up to you.
Guinea
I
pig.
know.
think it's
I love it. This is great. Yeah.
Nice. You float. For a minute, there's panic because you just got shoved over the edge of a chasm. You can't see the bottom. Like, oh! And you struggle for a minute, and then you're like, oh yeah, you're like, you're still seeing everybody as you just start to go below the the ledge of the lip of the chasm.
I'm laughing. That's hilarious.
I'm highly uncomfortable.
And then I jump in afterwards.
Nice. Poof. When you roll, just sort of floating down slowly, and it
I
takes.
did grab the coin though. I'm not leaving it.
Okay, cool.
Oh,
You
good
got the coin. Nice. You pocket the coin and then head in as well. It lasts.
I just kind of walk over the edge, just like I'm walking down the stairs in
Nice.
the air. Because why not?
Right. It looks like it too. Yeah, it's just the right pace where it's like, oh, that's so cool.
I just give a little chuckle and just drop down.
Nice. Cannonball. So once everyone's floating, it lasts 10 minutes, and it takes, because it's so deep, it takes a good 6 minutes to get down to finally float down to the very bottom of this. Very, very, very dark down here. If you don't have dark vision, you can't see a thing.
I have dark vision.
Yeah. Nice. Who doesn't have dark vision, I guess, is a better question.
The humans.
Nice. All right, so for the three of
That's
you,
okay.
at one point, it becomes dark. If you look straight up, at some point you can sort of see some of the light from up above, but essentially it's just dark down here. Somewhat uneven terrain. but nothing too bad. I mean, it's rock and rubble, so but mostly flattened out from whatever work they'd been doing down here. You've arrived at the bottom. For those with dark vision, you're actually pretty close. About only 50 feet away, you can see the entrance to what the wizards there are calling a tomb of some sort.
Mm.
Um, very the arch not architecture, but the craftsmanship of this archway, the doorway, is really on point. A lot of detail in the gargoyle statues. They have these big, they're humanoid in the way they stand. They have their arms crossed, and they have these large wings that, expand, reach out on either side. And the wings sort of are in line with the top jamb of the door. Um,
Can I, uh, and I guess investigate the gargoyles, make sure they won't like spring into life if we try to come close to the door?
you can certainly try. Is there anything in particular you want to do to test that?
I just kind of want to look for like I guess runes,
Okay.
so that something that would activate them, like golems.
Right. Make it an
Is that investigate?
yeah.
I'm
While
lighting
she's
a
doing
torch.
that, I was going to say, can I light a torch and
Ugh.
put it in my antlers?
Oh, okay, nice. Yeah, you light up a torch and just prop it in there.
Oh, that's cool. I'm distracted by that. Like, that's cool.
Nice. For those of you that don't have dark vision, uh, you get just a brief moment of fright as from darkness is suddenly two giant gargoyle statues right by the door, like 40, 50 feet away. Um, let's see, what was it in an eight? Everything looks okay with these gargoyles.
Cool.
Oh boy.
Great. Someone else look at
Oh.
these things. It's like, oh, those look very realistic. Oh, look. Yeah.
Would it? Is there any more information I could glean with a history check to
I've
kind
had
Um, yeah, you can try and roll a history check to see if this matches up with anything that you've heard about this continent. Anything? No, you've
Alright.
read about gargoyles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've read about these guys. Gargoyles. That's what they are.
I'm
Well,
gonna kind of stay in the
to know.
back. Can I have my bow a little half drawn,
Okay.
So kind of watch the back of the party. So
Ah, okay, nice. You keep a careful eye out. No movement yet.
Do we want to set
Oh.
kind of a marching order? Like who's up front, who's at the back?
Well, I was gonna say I'm gonna tap the gargoyles on one of the gargoyles on the nose with my belaying pin.
Nice. Okay. Gunk, gunk. Little chip of its nose breaks off.
Oh, sorry, little guy. So I guess I'm in front of them.
Okay.
I'll go behind. I'll go behind her and
Okay.
send the fighter.
Time for me to get my notebook out. Actually, no, I don't have to because we're gonna have a math in a minute.
Dun, dun, dun.
I'll go third then. And I've got my rapier loose in its sheath, ready to draw. So like a quick draw sort of situation.
Okay.
I'll go like middle of the pack so that the torchlight can still be seen by the people in the front.
Okay, nice. What I'm gonna have y'all do is, should you open the doors and end up, heading in one piece. No, just kidding. I'll let you guys arrange your tokens in the order that you've, just described.
Okay.
Okay.
Doors, worst enemy.
Yes, so true. All right. So, as the instructions were to hold up the scroll to the seam of the door in the center, and it should definitely unlock it, is what you've been told.
Do we have anyone who's proficient in Arcana to maybe do it just in case?
I have that's one of my skills. Yeah.
Cool. Do you want to have a go at it?
I'll hand it over to you.
Okay. I take the scroll and I should I run an Arcana check on it?
Yeah, go ahead and roll Arcana, and this will be like your ability to use a scroll. Oh yeah, not a problem. So you've used scrolls before, and while this particular scroll isn't a spell that's on your spell list, it's been broken down in a way from the mind of Lennox to be easy for anyone to use. So as you put it there, you with the 13, you expertly cast a spell, and this. Thin bead of what looks like a very light blue plasma almost glows behind the paper, behind the scroll, in the seam, and runs up and down through the seams, lighting them up entirely. And then the paper turns to dust, and you hear the doors unlatch. Whatever locking mechanism was there has been unlocked.
Hello, Mora.
Start drawing my short sword if at the ready.
Yeah. Felix has his hand crossbow out, just kind of drawing it and aiming at the doorway.
Okay.
Is the door open or it's just kind of cracked?
It's unlatched. It's still shut, but you have heard it unlatch, whatever was in there, holding it locked.
Can I roll a perception check to see if I hear anything behind the door?
Yeah, go ahead.
Or is it? Okay.
I mean, it feels and looks like a heavy stone door, but you're certainly welcome to, because
Okay, yeah.
You can certainly try.
Yeah, you put your ear up very close to it, and you know, you don't really hear much of anything going on behind it, or really anywhere down here.
Oh, I'm gonna open the door.
I kind of help her push it open.
Okay. And I will share a map out with you guys. Time for some fun.
Oh no. Not like it when the GM is happy.
Nice. And forever it would load. Let me bring up.
It's only a map. There couldn't be any monsters on it or anything.
Nice. Oh, tokens popped in. That's exciting, at least. All right, let me try and stretch this map out a little more to fit the screen capture here a little bit better. All right. Once this loads, there'll be a little bit of zooming in. You'll likely load near it'll be on the right-hand side, somewhere near the top of this map. But I can certainly describe what you see while it's loading. As you enter, you see a hallway lined with these same gargoyles as the two outside. Stone walls almost cut from whatever type of, it's sort of like a slate kind of stone. Excuse me, there we go. You see what appears to be an opening, like a doorway or hallway to the left, another hallway a little further to the right, and then possibly, it's tough to tell from here, another hallway to the left. Of course, this is, no, I guess it depends. Astrid, you were, third, was it? You were, like, staying in the middle for the light?
Yeah, right, yeah, like round about the middle.
Actually, if the tokens have loaded for you guys, go ahead and move your characters around where you wanted them. When walking between two gargoyles, there's only enough room for one person, but everywhere else in the hallway, it's just enough to be 2 by. So arrange how you would see fit.
I have not loaded yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Me neither.
Load map, load.
Put my belaying pin away.
Nice. Okay.
There we go.
I'm dropping some frames like they're hot here. I better take this opportunity to look at my settings.
Yeah, chat says they've been having some issues.
Alright, I'm going to try. This is streaming. Let me try and lower that a little bit.
Okay.
Let me try and do this. Okay. Let me see if that makes a difference. I think that's it. Thank you, chat, for letting us know that, by the way. I think I've... Yep, okay. We should be good now. It's back in the green, no drop frames, so it should work out. Thank you.
Sweet.
Okay, good. It looks like it loaded for maybe everyone or almost everyone.
Yep,
Or
I'm loaded.
not Warren.
Okay. Is there a whole bunch that's supposed to be hidden?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just sort of as you explore, things will open up.
Fog of War.
All right, let's see where everyone's moving. So as you move, I will, of course, react accordingly. Let's see, who's up front here? Kaylin. Okay. So, Kaylin, as you walk a little further, you saw into this lower hallway, which appeared to be a room. And this upper hallway also appeared to be a room. Some broken down boxes and crates. Very, very old. Alright, let's see. This is Ormia. Okay. So Ormia, as you step into that room.
Oh, no.
Alright, let me get back to my notes here.
My last year was just a little bit sadistic.
Oh no. So you can actually Ormia. I'm sorry, Ormia. I've got a. Is it Ormia? Like the emphasis there. I want to make sure I'm saying it right for you.
Ormia.
Ormia.
I guess Ormia.
Okay, I'll just think like Mia. Ormia. Okay, so go ahead and make a dexterity saving throw. You start walking into the room, and just as you walk past the carpet, you hear a... Oh, snap, nice. The second you hear that, you spring backward a good 5 feet. The door drops down directly inches from your face, slams down. There was a door upward in the ceiling that just dropped down and sealed off that room.
Guys, there's traps in here.
Well, dang, that happened.
I make sure that Ormia is okay.
I'm fine. Dexterity is my good stat. she's a little bit like, okay, that was my face. All right, I'm fine. There's traps in here, guys.
These jobs are never easy.
There's traps. There's traps in here.
Emil will take a moment and try and look around for more traps.
Okay, make an investigation check, Emil, if you would. You hear some hissing from the room behind the door.
Snakes.
Snake, nice. You don't spot any in the vicinity, Emil. Everything looks okay.
Since that happened, I'm gonna be looking around for traps too.
Okay. That
Yeah, that was
Scaries. Yeah, as you
One of
look
these
around,
days.
you don't spot anything that looks like any trigger mechanisms or anything like that. You're feeling a little heat from the door now too. Anyone that's nearby.
Ugh.
No.
And
Oh,
I'm backing away.
What's
Keep
the
off the carpets, guys.
what's the door made out of?
It looks like a heavy type of metal. Um,
Okay.
mhm.
Well, if there's something on fire behind there, at least the door's not going to catch it.
Mm.
Does Felix see any trace of a small child running around, maybe?
Make a survival check to see if there's any tracks or anything like that.
Sure, just give me a second here.
Mhm.
I
So-
can make one too if
Okay.
it doesn't go well.
After
Plus 0.
Oh, nice. Okay. No. I mean, it's almost like a marble floor. It doesn't quite belong down here. Well, not marble. It's a stone floor, but smooth. Clearly, this was man-made. So while you're all sort of investigating, looking for traps and stuff, maybe 3-4 minutes goes by, and you hear a latch release somewhere, and the door goes back up. Let's see who's over here. Reinman. You don't even have to do any kind of a check. There's some smoke that starts, letting out of the room a little bit.
Oh. Can I make? Can I make a perception check to see what that will reveal anything?
What is it you want to look for, or I mean, you can make a perception check just to see what you gauge from the situation. Yeah.
Right. That's yeah. That would be helpful. If it turns out okay.
Okay. Let me see where you are. You're over here. Okay. So it billows out a little bit. You can tell by looking at it that the room was filled up with something. Obviously smoke from some heat source, some fuel, and a little bit wafts over by you, and you immediately have like a gag reflex to it. You feel that there's potentially some poison in this gas that's starting to creep out into the hallway.
I just yeah, it has poison in it. We need to be careful or get away. I'm just gonna
If anyone wants to move away out of that hallway, go ahead.
That'd
Yeah,
be a good idea, huh?
I'm gonna do that.
I'm gonna check out this room right here.
Don't walk on the carpet.
Okay.
What?
I mean, you start walking into the room and you give it a careful scan. Nothing seems to happen as you enter the room. You do see a number of broken crates. It looks like maybe there were at some point, critters down here, or something that kind of nibbled and gnawed their way through some of the wood and consumed whatever was in here. It was likely some sort of edible. Storage room for something.
Are any of the crates open? I mean, are they all closed?
They're all sort of broken in here. This you did see quickly as you glanced in that other room. You had seen a few tables, and that's really all you would probably catch from there.
Oh wait. Doesn't dwarven resilience give me resistance against poison damage?
I think so, right? Because you're a mountain dwarf. Yeah. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
So
You can go into the room.
I could try to go into the room.
Resistance will do half damage instead of full damage.
Okay.
Immunity will make it so you don't take any.
Okay.
I mean, the smoke appears to be dissipating. Like if the room was full of it and it evacuated when the door opened, but it does appear to be dissipating and heading. It's sort of being pulled out of the entrance door because of, it's been sealed for so long. There's an airflow.
Right.
You would gauge it likely safe at this point to go in without taking any of the effects of the poison because you had such a good perception roll.
I'm gonna go in.
Okay.
I'm glancing down this hallway down here.
Oh, okay. All right. As you step in,
Yes.
click. You hear a click
Oh.
sound under the carpet.
No. Can I make a survival? Can I make a survival throw?
You can make a dexterity check to see if you
Dexterity check.
Dexterity
can save. Right, saving throw, and that'll be on your main character sheet, the S instead of the C, on your dexterity box.
Okay.
And let's see, 5, 10, 20, 30, 35, 40.
So that's the right column, right?
Let me take a peek. I believe so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I'm sorry. It's way on the side.
Oh,
no.
You go to turn, but your foot twists in the carpet, and you almost face plant, but you don't make it out before the door locks down in front of you. Everyone else, I mean, anyone in the back there would probably hear that. The door is slammed shut. You see the two braziers here on either side start to light up.
Ooh.
Uh-oh.
With like
an
arcane
perception check or an arcane check. I'll make an arcane check.
If you're gonna do like an Arcana check, it'll tell you if there's any magic involved. If you do an investigation check, you might be able to look around, like, okay, what's happening and
Okay,
how does this work?
I'll try an investigation check then.
Okay.
Oh no.
I mean, you do notice these lighting up with some sort of arcane heat fuel being used. You also see.
Can I try to find like an open, like a push to open button from this side?
Yeah, go ahead and do an investigation check if you would. You do notice. Kaylin, you do.
Someone else, look.
Let's see.
Like, oh crap, oh crap.
That you start to feel some heat coming off of those, and some smoke starts to lift up out of the two in the northern part of the room. You do notice at the where is it? At the bottom right of the room.
Yes.
There's a different style, like a fire pit almost. It's built up like the bottom half of a pyramid, where it just cuts off, and it's this bed of coals that appear to be, they start glowing with heat, but there's no smoke.
Can I make an Arcana check on it?
Yeah. If you go over and if you go, let's say, I mean, upon closer inspection, before even having to do an Arcana check, you can see that, I mean, they're throwing off heat, but the poison is coming from the other two, and there's like a grate, a metal grate with maybe inch-wide holes in the grate that's holding up some of these embers. If you want to make a perception check as you're looking at that, you may.
Yeah, I just want to see if I don't know. There's anything I can do with it, or
yeah, I mean, with an 11, because this isn't a super complex thing down here, you see that there's a hollowed out, cavity below that. You see something glimmering in there a little bit, and every time that these embers glow, they seem to pulse almost. Every time they glow, the two braziers up top glow even brighter and pump more in rhythm, almost like they're synced up somehow.
I'm desperately still searching for a button, and like, guys, help me find something to open this door.
I'm
I
gonna
try
go
and
to
like
this other
lift the
room.
door from the bottom.
Yeah, the door's starting to get a little hot. You can. It's still not so hot that you can't touch it. If you want to do a strength check, Astrid.
Yeah.
And Emercina, what were you doing?
I'm gonna go to this other room and look in the crates and stuff and see if there's anything to help.
Okay.
Oh, good roll.
You can make an investigation check, Emersina, if you want. Astrid, you get into like the perfect squat position to lift with your legs, and there is like a band of metal that's been riveted into this section to sort of as part of the door that you're able to get a good grip on. But as much as you pull, it seems like it's locked somewhere inside in the upper machinations.
Okay. Cool.
Can I try to reach into this grate since it's not hot?
Well, this one's hot. There's just no smoke.
Oh.
You get the feeling that it's somehow linked up. This one and the other one's act in tandem. The other two are actually billowing smoke, and it's that same. You can see it has a little bit of a greenish hue to it. It's poison in it. Yeah, and let me know if there's anything else you want to do with this one, and we can try whatever you'd like. Emersina, there's just the room is empty up there, unfortunately. Did someone else do any investigation checks in the hallway or anything? I don't want to leave anyone out. Okay.
I can try, but I'm not proficient in it. So I'm just slapping the wall at random.
Just try to find a button. Try to see if there's some way you can open this.
Can I do a second one?
Yeah, I mean it's a different circumstance now with someone else. Kaylin, as you're looking through and over this thing, and it's hot here, so you're starting, there's a little bit of sweat, and as some of the sweat drips off and hits the embers here, and it has like a little fizzle, you hear that fizzle over in the other two braziers as well.
Oh.
I don't have any water. I don't have any.
Oh shit.
Investigation. Yeah, sorry, Ryan. When you
I mean, I have. What is this?
Nope.
Wait a minute. What is a water skin? What is a water skin?
It's just that it's like a goat stomach that's dried out, and you keep water in it or something. It's like.
It's a medieval water bottle.
Yeah.
Can I try to dump some water onto it?
Sure, absolutely. You pull it out and uncork it, and it starts to douse the hot embers, and the smoke dies down in the two braziers in the top of the room.
Oh.
Let's see. If you dump the whole water skin, we'll say you're able to douse these embers.
Yeah.
And the ash from them falls down to the grate, and the other two fizzle out. Now the room still has a little bit of smoke. Now that the ash has sort of fallen down through the grate, though, you do see through the grate there's also what looks like, you probably recognize it as a precious gem. Malachite at your best guess.
Ooh. See here. Is there any way to use my short sword to get it out?
Yeah, do a strength check if you want to try and bash the grate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. It's just requires a 5 because it's just a weak grate. You take the hilt and smash it, and you pull out this gem. As the room is, it's still filling up with smoke, you hear the unlatching of the door. Goes back.
I run out.
Okay. Out of the smoke, billowing out of the room was Kaylin. Into the hallway.
Guys, I'm okay.
Managed to
Slapping
avoid.
the
You're
wall.
alive. Good. Don't do that again.
Nobody go into that room.
And I found a gem.
Sparkly.
Nice.
She displays it. She displays the gem to the group, and then quickly puts it into her pocket, deep, so she's
Nice.
she doesn't want anyone taking it from her.
Who are
Awesome.
you referring to?
Awesome. And you recognize that to be worth about 10 gold pieces. It's a precious gem. And with Kaylin running out of the billowing smoke into the hallway,
Yeah, coughing.
that's where we'll end tonight's session. It's 1:00.
Wow.
Hey.
All right.
Nobody's dead.
Yes, thank goodness. I was so nervous when you went back in, and I was like, no! Kaylin! Oh, that's a relief. Well, thanks, guys. Thanks, players. You guys are so great. This is so awesome.
Yeah,
Yay.
fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It's
Neat.
great.
I'll have a face next week, hopefully.
Cool.
Yay.
I had a blast. Thank you so much, chat, as well. And I'll switch back over to chat here. Thanks, chat, for everyone joining. It's always fun, to have you in here. And thanks, Josh, for modding
Yeah.
and being here. And yeah, so we'll
Yes,
catch
thank you.
you next Friday, same time, 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. If you want to catch this episode, you missed some of it, you want to catch the whole thing, we will be uploading it to the YouTube page tomorrow, which just Nightbot linked. Okay, great. And so you can catch the whole thing there. Hey, Nightsteed. And we'll catch you later. Have a great night. Thanks again for watching, everyone, and being awesome
Yay.
players.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.